Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. There was a Nero in Rome, and when the city was burning, he was sitting on the top of the hill, playing on his lyre. He was fiddling, lost in his own music, oblivious of the pain and the misery of the people. And now in Canada, we see a Nero, not cruel, a drama teacher, become politician. And being a politician, he has forgotten his old vocation of drama teaching, of enjoying music, but he rides the waves. And while Alberta is suffering, while the economy of the country is tanking, he is riding the waves, surfing in sheer joy, oblivious of the agony of the people. His ecstasy, his pleasure is absolutely diametrically opposed to the agony of the people. His party has lost the very first key address. Alberta lost a major company, an iconic company, Encana. They said they don't want to be Canadian anymore. And the response of the federal government was just a shrug. Okay, let it be. The builders of the iconic gleaming bow towers of Calgary, Encana is no longer Encana. And it has rebranded itself as very bewildering, awkward, alternative. Reminds me of my childhood days when I used to take Ovaltine, the milky, brownish drink in the night. My mom used to say, well, this drink will make you intelligent and healthy. I don't know. And Alberta painfully moves as this shocking revelation came up that the resource giant Encana has decided to leave Canada. Naturally, Alberta is a part of Canada still. And they have removed the word Canada component from its name, and the pipeline firm TransCanada becomes TC Energy. The Bloomberg headline was, Canada has become a dirty word in oil patch. Is it? Canada is not becoming a dirty word. As a matter of fact, our leaders are responsible for this tragedy. And Canada's further announcement that it will decamp from Calgary to US headquarters is just the beginning. And the latest bank energy player to shy away from Alberta. In this province, it's like a kick in the teeth, more than having come one once. And a decade ago, this was the country's largest economy by market capitalization. So what happened? Naturally, no company in the world ever works where there are no facilities, where there are no more impediments, when there are more obstacles. The first major how at this departure of iconic company comes from Alberta. And since the last federal election, the one which affirmed that Justin Trudeau and the Liberals need to be more responsive to the troubles of the people and the anxieties of the oil-producing states like Alberta, is shocking. What made Encana gone was the first post-election test for Trudeau, and Trudeau failed miserably. He's busy drafting fantasy cabinet ahead of November 20, But he did not say a single word, did not put a statement, did not even tweet on the news. And when CBC's power and politics pursued a liberal guest, nobody was available. The natural minister, who has lost his seat, was all away. And then ultimately what happened? There was a statement for the natural resources, which had a few paragraphs expressing disappointment at this move. But it was more an explanation of what they are doing, not at all related with Encana's departure, not analyzing the causes, and not coming out with the facts, what is going to happen. Why? The what ifs are ringing across the West. Should there not have been a minimal response from Trudeau's camp? If this tragedy had happened somewhere else, would he have kept quiet? Would he have been stricken deaf and mute and paralyzed? I don't think so. If it had happened in Quebec, he would have been all out. Sound bites would have been ringing in our ears. If it had happened to SNC-Lavalin, he would have shed tears and maybe have given billions of dollars to Alberta. But Albertans have long learned to wait a long time for sickening thud of the next shoe dropping. Addressing the newly inflamed passions, the passion of Western alienation, the sense of being left out will require better words from Trudeau. And better words mean also better action. This was an opportunity for Trudeau to show his empathy for this province, and he failed miserably. Jason Kenney naturally is revolting. And this political reaction, the void of that, opining that the energy sector's broader decline is a deliberate act of Trudeau government, and he's not far wrong. If he didn't deliberately do it, he manipulated that it be done. It's a popular sentiment. The federal Liberals didn't want to sound defensive on CBC's daily politics. But in the oil country in which we are living is a prime lump-taking season, and the Liberals should suffer the bruises now. Otherwise, maybe a couple of years and they have got to go. When Premier Kenney demands a response from the government, and in very bold and clear terms, that means that something is definitely required. The Conservative platform, his own and Andrew Scheer's, would not be implemented by Trudeau. There will be no countrywide energy corridor as required. But what is required is the overhauling of equalization and undoing of the Bill C-69. That Bill C-69 is a horrible thing for the economy of the country, and I don't know whose advice Trudeau is taking. Equalization, you remember, I had even in my comments last week had said, this is robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it's very simple. Make equalization contribution as a loan from Alberta to be given to the other provinces, and it should be returned back with interest. As a matter of fact, I don't know. There's a need for Trudeau to seek more counsel and listen to the voices from the West. He is concentrating on his vote bank, on GTA, on British Columbia, the places where the more new immigrants are there. But then, do I blame him? He had said there is no essential Canadian identity. A prime minister who derides the nation, the prime minister who ridicules the very concept of the nationhood of the country, doesn't deserve to be there, but he is there thanks to his vote bank. As a matter of fact, the voices raised by Kenny and Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moore are not the lone regional conduits. They express the opinion of millions of people living in these provinces. And Trudeau's outreach has only been so far to the big cities in Saskatchewan, Regina, Edmonton, Calgary. And they skew more progressive than the broader electorate. Now let's come to the economy. Alberta is an oil-rich state. Today, as the oil reserves all over the world are depleting, the oil reserves of Alberta are a hope for the world. The maximum oil reserves in the world are here in Canada, with Alberta heading it. Can you find a single nation in the world which doggedly refuses to take advantage of its resources and come at the top of the world, which it can do? Look at it. The business figures lean on the government policies and the regulation. We are talking of pollution control. But the oil is the lifeline of the nation, lifeline of the economy. How can you do it? In one of my talks, day after tomorrow, I'm going to talk how the smartphones are creating more pollution than any other sector. Has Trudeau thought it fit to ban the smartphones? What we need is bringing together all the oil players in Alberta, whether it's Sunco, whether it's Imperial Oil or whatever. Bring them together so that the Alberta's public conversation is dominated. And these major oil players join hands with the companies like WestJet, Nutrien, Shaw Communication, and then see what happens. As a matter of fact, we need an absolutely new thought, the thought that the economy of the country is the most important thing. Feeding the people is the most important thing. Providing them with pure water, not water full of lead. You know, the government, sometimes I feel, is acting like the cowboys. They either put the lead in your chest, and if they cannot do it because they happen to be a bit more civilized, as they call it, but I'll call them more civilized crooks, they put lead in your body through the water. So what is required is a serious movement to coalesce. And then Trudeau has to ease the situation, not exaggerate it. Inaction is making it worse. As I said, Nero was fiddling when Rome was burning. And Trudeau is riding the waves when the country is sinking. What a tragedy. Too deep for tears, too big to be explained in a few minutes, but it can be comprehended in a few seconds. When the leadership is not aware of the pain of the people, then it's not a leadership. Then it's a gangster's ruling. When the leadership doesn't understand the misery of the people and cannot appreciate the dark tunnel ahead, and the leadership fails to give hope and sustenance, that leadership is no better than highwaymen how to loot, rape, and plunder. We don't need that sort of leadership. We need an enlightened leadership which thinks of our needs, which can resonate with our passions and emotions. Is the leadership listening? That's $1 million question. Think about it.